I teach you, you teach me. Together we explore and discover the mysteries of sex. The Mysteries of Sex with Love My Yacht. Love My Yacht. The Mysteries of Sex. Every second and fourth Tuesday at 9 p.m. on TV 33 WHPR on Comcast Cable Channel 91 Detroit. Sex. Would you or would you not? The Mysteries of Sex. With your host, Love My Yacht. The Mysteries of Sex.
Let's talk sex with Love My Yacht. Let's talk sex with Love My Yacht.
Would you teach it?
Let's talk sex with Love My Yacht.
Would you try it?
Let's talk sex with Love My Yacht.
Would you
Would
love
or would
it?
you not? Let's talk sex with Love My Yacht.
Would you
Would you
judge
or would you
it?
not?
Would you
Let's talk
trust
sex
me?
with Love My Yacht.
Would
Would
you
you
buy
or would you
it?
not?
Would you
Let's
hide
talk sex
it?
with Love My Yacht.
Or would you
Would you
deny
or
it?
would you not? Let's talk sex with Love My Yacht. Would you or would you not? Let's talk sex with Love.
Greetings and welcome to the Mysteries of Sex with Love My Yacht. As for always and today and tomorrow, love you first, right? So follow me on this journey as I teach you, you teach me. Together we explore and discover the mysteries of sex. We have some phenomenal guests today. That's right, we have some phenomenal guests. We have Pastor Bullock to the right side of me and Pastor Mo to the left hand side of me. Oh my goodness, this is going to be a phenomenal show. First, so I feel really privileged, really, to have
it's
two
our
men of
privilege.
God on the side of me. So I know a lot of people saying, Maya, you next to two men of God? And I'm going to say yes. And one of my main purposes to ask you guys to come on this show with me is a lot of people challenge me a lot. They say, you know, how can you talk about sex and you're not married? So that question kept arising. Even last week, one of my guests said something about that. So the first question I want to ask you
Good
guys
question.
is,
how can you talk about sex and you're not married?
how can I enjoy sex without being married?
Yeah, can you?
How can I have children without being married? I was married before, but not when I made all of them. And I still enjoy my sex. So that was one of my questions, but I'm going to wait for that question for you. My first question is to you, Pastor Bullock. Why is sex taboo in the church?
Well, first of all, let me say it's great to be on the show with Love My Yacht. It's always good to be with the preacher of Detroit, Pastor Mo, a.k.a. Street Sweeper,
Yes.
rapper,
Yes.
reality TV show star,
Oh my goodness. Yes.
dresser, gospel gangster,
Gospel gangster. I love it. He sure is.
LIP.
Push it.
You know what I'm
Yes.
saying? And definitely it's always good to be with the people. Why is sex taboo in the church? Well, one, and I don't want to get too deep tonight, right? But
Okay.
there is no such thing as the church.
Okay.
Churches are bodies of believers, so there are different churches. You have different denominations. You have the so-called black church, you have the so-called white church, you got the evangelical church, Southern Baptist church, you know, Pentecostal church, apostolic church, non-denominational church. You have Christian centers that are churches, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. So depending upon what fellowship you're with,
Okay.
sex may not be taboo. I mean, there are homosexual churches.
Oh,
right,
wait. We're
that
going to
are-
touch on that too.
but I'm just saying, so in a homosexual church, sex probably isn't taboo, or it might be, because it might be a conservative homosexual church. So I'm just saying, I don't want people to talk about the church like it's monolithic, one. But typically in the black tradition, we're very socially conservative.
Okay.
We're very traditional. We're very much so about the form of God as opposed to the power of God.
Yes.
And so we want to look a certain way. You got to
Yes.
have a robe, and you got to have the hair or the head covered. Women don't wear pants, no makeup, and definitely no conversations about sex. But you know, it doesn't matter that the girls are in the praise team with the big bellies, right? It doesn't matter that the boys are having sex. It doesn't matter that the deacons, you know, are single. And I mean, that doesn't matter. Nobody wants to talk about it. Nobody wants to talk about the musician and what kind of sex he's having or what kind of orientation he has.
With the ladies on the
Right.
the stand singing, right?
Yeah, well, usually the musician is not into the ladies. It's the choir, it's the praise team leader that's into the ladies. Usually the musician is into the dudes.
Oh wow! Oh my
Right.
goodness!
Or the drummer, right? You know,
Okay.
right? Because because the drummers stay after church and then they be in the pastor's office. All kind of stuff
Oh my
happening.
goodness!
But nobody wants to talk about this stuff. But it's crazy to me, and then I'll be done because I don't want to monopolize the time at all.
No, you're not.
Right.
Oh, this is beautiful.
But let's just think about our Bible for a minute, right?
Okay.
Let's think about our Bible. You know, Adam knew Eve. Like, how can you read that and not know what new meant, right? And not know that he knew her new. You know what I'm saying? Let's talk about Joseph and Potiphar's wife,
Okay.
right? You know, now
She was hot, dog.
she was hot for Joseph. He denied her. But when I think about that, I'm saying maybe that wasn't the first time that happened. Maybe he was saying no that time.
Oh.
Right? And she got her feelings hurt, so she told. Because
Yeah.
slaves, you talk about sex, Joseph was a sex slave.
Oh my.
See, if you wanted to preach a sex trafficking sermon, you could talk about Joseph and how he was a sex slave who had been trafficked into Potiphar's house, had no rights to his own body because he was his master's slave, and as such, the wife could demand sex from him. So when he said no, he was not just standing up for his own dignity in sex, he was denying the power of the wife and the wife husband over his own body, and so he went to jail. That mirrors many of the women who stand up for themselves in those situations, who
Yes.
end up in a jail and hell of their own. Look, I said it on Sunday. God told Abraham he'd be the father of many nations, but he could not be that without sleeping with Sarah and having Isaac. So he had to have Isaac. And on, David and Bathsheba, one of my favorite stories. Because when you have a man who fights for a living
Yes.
and the battle is going on,
Yes.
if he's not in the battle, he will find a battle.
Exactly.
All right, I mean, and we go on Ruth and Boaz, how she
Oh
gleaned
my
in the
goodness,
field.
yes.
She was down on her knees picking up the wheat, picking up the corn. You know what I'm saying? And he say, "Who is leave a little bit more for her?" You know what I'm saying? I mean, and it's like, man, you know, women say they want a Boaz, but they don't want to get down on their knees
Oh my
and glean
goodness.
in the
Okay.
field. I mean, look, there's so much in the Bible. Look, Song of Solomon says, "My lover's legs are like oak trees." Y'all missed that. Y'all missed
Wait,
that.
give me that
Y'all
again.
missed that. Song of
Lebanon.
Solomon says, "My lover's legs are like oak trees." Now, the last time I saw oak tree, it wasn't limp and it wasn't little. Talk to me, somebody.
Okay,
She say, "My
okay.
lover's legs
Okay.
are long, strong."
Yes.
The cedars of Lebanon.
Yeah, right. My lover's breath is like fawn's milk.
Oh.
Right?
Oh.
I am black and beautiful. That's in the Bible. Now, pastors don't preach from Song of Solomon because they're scared to touch it.
Look,
I mean,
you got our lives blown up,
I
Pastor.
could go on and on and on. There's so much sex in the Bible.
Yes.
Even, and this is the last one. Even when you swear an oath in the Bible.
Uh-huh.
Do you know how they would swear an oath in the Old Testament?
No.
So when Lot and Abraham say, "May the Lord watch between me and thee while
Yes.
we're absent one from another,"
Yes.
right? That's not a blessing. It's actually this is my land, that's your land. If I see you again, I'm gonna kill you.
Oh my goodness. Okay.
That's not a, so people be in church. May the Lord watch. I'm like, man, don't say that, man. Right?
That's a beef.
It's saying, "May the Lord watch
Don't cross
between
this-
us
yeah.
while we absent."
Right.
May you
Yes.
keep the
And mark the territory.
Yes.
the territory and the commitment while we and
You
then
cross this line, you in trouble,
And
huh?
then they swore it because in order to be a Israelite, you had to be circumcised.
Oh.
They swore it by grabbing each other's testicles.
Oh, wow.
Talk about sex,
Talk about sex.
right? And so to swear the promise, man to man, you had to touch the seat of the vitality and virility
Of another man.
of the man.
Okay.
Abraham was the first pimp, but I ain't gonna go into that.
Okay.
How he went into
okay.
Egypt and told his wife, who was also his half sister. Y'all don't want to talk about incest. He said, "Hey, when we get there, don't tell Pharaoh you my sister, because he might kill me for your sake. So if he wants you, just go ahead and let him have you, and then we could keep all the cattle in the land." P-I-M-P-ology. Obviously,
P-I-M-P.
Abraham was the first one to trade sexual favors of a woman he controlled for cattle and currency.
Okay.
And that's just the beginning of the tip of the iceberg
Okay.
of the Bible.
Wow. Well, you just educated me on some biblical sex.
It's a whole lot of stuff.
You're going to learn
I
tonight.
teach you, you teach me. Together we discover and explore. I'm learning the biblical aspects of
It's
sex.
a lot in there. I'm telling you, it's a lot in there.
Oh, I was worried about the questions that I asked you. Oh
It
my
was a lot in
goodness.
there. I'm sure Pastor Mo has more to
Wow.
add. He probably can take
Look,
this to
I
another
might not
level.
even ask y'all my little questions. My questions are elementary, okay? I know I seen the phones lighting up. Last week we didn't take any calls. This week I think it's very imperative to take some calls. So if you want to call in, please call area code 313-868-0342. Once again, 313-868-0342. Hold 1 second, Pastor Ma. Mysteries of sex.
Hello.
Yes.
Hi. I have a lot of questions. I'm sitting here watching the show now. I have a lot of questions as well as a few statements.
Yes.
Hello.
Yes, we're listening, ma'am.
Okay. My thing today is these churches are more like than as well as it's really like a business these days. That's why I really have been going to church like I have been going.
Yes.
And I just want to know, why is the church today run more like a business than more like a place of worship? That's what I'm not understanding.
Do you have that question towards Pastor Bullock or Pastor Mo, or it doesn't matter? Ma'am?
Yeah, she watched it, yeah. Wait, Reverend, you want to get that?
Sure.
Oh, you
I-
probably can,
My name is Pastor Mo, and I appreciate you having me on to be
you.
here with great Reverend David Bullock, one of my co-partners on the reality show, and a lot of the great work in Detroit, protest, push back, fight back, stand up, push, and uplift our people in our community. I'm thankful to be here with you
Thank you.
on tonight. And I'm Pastor Mo, a.k.a. the street preacher, a.k.a. the street sweeper, a.k.a. my brother and sister's keeper. What up, though, Detroit? I want to answer that question to say that many people seem to forget that there's a business side to the church. You know, there's a physical side, there's a spiritual side, and there's a business side. Now watch, they coexist, because without the physical side, you have an empty building, right?
Yes.
Without the spiritual side, you can have a club meeting. It can be
Yes.
a social club.
Yes.
Without the spirit being there.
Mm-hmm.
But without the business side, there's no functioning, there's no work being done when it comes to ministry.
Okay.
You can worship God for free, but ministry costs you something.
Okay.
And there's a business end to the church, but sometimes, and a lot of pastors have taken to the business end because this is the side where you feed into your ministry.
Okay.
And they want to be bigger ministry, the bigger the name, the bigger the fame.
Yes.
So they make it more about the business side and then about the spiritual side.
Exactly.
And then a lot of people are more about the physical side, and they liking the physical because they're not there.
Okay.
They play with church. And a lot of times the people playing with church and playing with their conviction to God, for instance, like people would come to our church and come to the pastor, say me and Bullock, for example, and they would say, Pastor Bullock, Pastor Mo, God told me to serve with you.
Okay.
I'm going to serve with you, serve you. I'm going to do this, and then say, God, it's for God.
Okay.
At the end of the service, or the end of they reign and tenure with us, they give us the bill.
Oh.
See,
Okay.
now we owe you something for it. You just came here to serve God.
Yes.
See, that's the
Yes.
physical part that gets jacked up. So the pastors now say, you know what? I'm going to handle my business because these people playing games.
Okay.
So we lean on the business side
Uh-huh.
to survive, and then really to promote and to have an uplift.
Uh-huh.
And that's not what God wants.
Exactly.
He wants the spiritual side first.
Okay.
Yeah.
What? Caller? Ma'am? Are you there? Ma'am?
She gone.
I don't know how to hang up.
Oh, you don't know how to.
Go to number 2. 3.
Okay, well, that was our first caller for the day. That was very interesting.
Can I just add to that though?
Yes.
One, I mean, I would want to know what she meant, like the church is run like a business. One, but because that's a longer question, because water bill, light bill, toilet paper, air conditioning, parking lot, gate, security,
Lights, walls.
communion, offering tray, choir director, organist, drummer, guitarist,
No.
Yes.
choir roll,
Yes.
snow removal, meatballs,
Me.
chicken wings,
Okay.
baptism certificates, baptismal pool clean, custodian.
Security.
I mean, like we could go on and on and on, and it just pains me that people think God's business don't cost money.
Exactly.
One, two, God's business has always been about finance.
That's right.
Malachi 3 says, "Bring all the tithes into the storehouse that there might be meat in my house." That's literal, because when you used to bring a animal to the temple and they would cook it for you and give you a portion of it back. The rest would stay in the temple for the priest to eat. That's why the Bible says, bring a bullock, bring a turtle dove, bring a pigeon, bring a lamb, bring a goat. You would literally bring that lamb. I was in Israel for 10 days. I was at the temple. You would bring the goat to the temple. They would cook it for you in the holy of holy fire,
Yes.
and give you a portion of it back, and you would eat what had been cooked in the temple. The priests would eat the rest, because the priests were the only ones who by law could not have land, so they could not raise animals or grow their own food, so they ate off of the tithe. So God's model, one, the man of God should be worthy of his hire, woman of God should be worthy of their hire, is that the people of God would set apart a portion of what they had for the men and women of God, so the men and women of God could serve God on their behalf.
Yes.
In our community, we want the service of the man of God, but then we want the man of God to secure everything for himself. So watch this. And people don't think about it like this. You want me to drive around to the hospital and see your family members, but you don't want to pay my insurance costs. But you don't want to reimburse me for my gas.
Talk.
But you don't want to get me new tires, right? But you don't want to pay for oil change, right? But you don't want to pay maintenance on my car.
Come in a nice suit, though.
Right, right. But watch this. The world will reimburse me for my mileage.
Yes.
The devil will give me a gas card, right?
Yes.
Corporate CEOs will pay for an oil change. Oh, but the people of God won't? But then if you don't go to the hospital, you're not serving the community wants to use the church. But when they steal the toilet paper from it, and they steal the toilet tissue from it, we got to go buy toilet paper. When they mess up the car, we feed Forgotten Harvest twice a month. I love doing it.
Yeah.
Our carpet is jacked up, right? Who gonna get the new carpet? And so you can do everything for free. You'll have a rundown church, and then the very person that says they don't like churches being about money will go to a mega church because they got nice carpet. I mean, so you gotta be wise in this game. And usually the cat criticizing the church ain't going to no church and ain't gonna make no good church member.
And what's this? They come into the church, use your facility, take the feminine products, knock your toilet
Oh
out,
man, yeah.
and then we got to pay for
Yeah,
it.
you gotta pay for the
We're
plumber.
going to pay for that.
Or they'll go to the mega church for 20 years and then come to your church and ask you to do the funeral for free. And you trying to figure out, man, you know what I'm saying? But you was putting all your money in that word of faith. You was all your money at Greater Grace, perfected.
Because he ain't going to do
You know
that.
what I'm saying?
for free.
Right, but they not go right.
Okay.
But Bishop, it took Bishop too long. We figured we come to you. We figured you the community pastor. Okay, I mean, don't get me wrong. We do it all the time. But it just, when people try to act like pastors are money hungry and greedy, that is not true. That is a lie. Y'all need to stop these lies. Most pastors are working 2 and 3 jobs and are 50% of the church's budget. That's just the truth. And they
Okay,
playing
wait,
the organ
I gotta
and they
interrupt
cleaning
you, Pastor.
toilets and everything.
I gotta say one thing, because I can't put a person in a box.
Right.
Right? Pastor Mo, Pastor Bullock. I haven't visited neither one of you guys'
Right.
churches, right? But I can say that we as a people, we can't speak about everybody. Because I do know there are some pastors out there, some men of God out there who misuse their tithes and offerings. It may not go to just the building upkeeps.
Right.
It may go toward other things. Like I seen, for example, Joel Osteen. I don't know the story, so no one gets upset. But with the hurricane it came, He has that great big stadium, and he didn't open it up.
Yeah.
I don't know how true
I
it
ain't
is.
like that.
But however, that's what the media said, okay? And I'm looking at this is a mega televangelist. So he has millions and millions of dollars.
Right.
I think that a mega church should be used for mega ministry. If there's no ministry, there's no need for a mega church.
I think a mega church should be used what a mega church is for. Namely, mega churches are designed to put a whole lot of people in a short amount of time and extract the money and give them a spiritual orgasm, since you're talking about sex.
A spiritual
and
orgasm.
It's amazing,
I like that.
It's amazing to me that people have slam, wham, bam, thank you, ma'am, ministries that they support and then get mad when all they get is a hit.
It's a hit.
That's what
With
mega
no
churches
orgasm.
do.
With
That's
no
what,
orgasm.
I'm just saying, that's what mega churches are for. The pastor come in for 15 minutes, right? They stroke you up and down, right? You get, oh, I got my word, and I go home.
And then you be
Joel
right back to reality.
Osteen never promised anybody that he was going to be for the community. I don't know why people are acting like somehow he's doing something that he said he was or was not going to do. He told you from day one, this is about me and Victoria and my family.
Hold on one second, Pastor Bullock. Good afternoon, Mysteries of Sex. Hello? Hello? Okay. I think that's how you told me to hang up, right? Mysteries of Sex. Hello?
Yes.
Hi, how may I help you?
Okay, I was the caller that called in. I was asking why the church is running like a business. My phone was dead. But first of all, let me make this very clear. I know all pastors don't do wrong by the money. I'm just saying, when I was going to church when I was younger versus now, it's like everything is a business. That's what I said.
Okay, thank
That's
you,
what I
ma'am.
meant.
Thank you. I think they kind of answered that for you. They understood that you wasn't saying everyone, and Pastor Mo broke down the business etiquette towards it, and Pastor Bullock also broke down the business etiquette towards it. I think it's business in everything we do, honestly,
Yeah.
and etiquette.
Sam's Club, you got to have a membership and you're going to pay to go in there.
Yes.
And you're going to pay for everything. See, they don't go in Sam's Club and want to argue about the contract. Let me see the contract that says I have to pay for this right guard. They just pay for it. Make whatever price is on there, they pay the price on there. And here's the thing. You have to stop looking at church. Number one, church is not your God. All
Yes.
right?
Yes.
Church is a business.
Yes.
And when you go there, you're paying to go into a facility with air, with heat, and for the amenities. Find your. See, I don't go to church because I am the church. We go
Yes.
to worship.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
Right.
And
That's
then-
good. That's
yes,
good.
Right.
yes.
Break that down. Right.
And then you should be able to study yourself to be approved to know who God is. Once you know who God is, you become an entity of worship in church, and you don't mind going and see. I don't have to see. I ain't gonna sit under nobody and took up my fancy for 30 minutes or half an hour.
Yes.
I get mine on Monday when I go do the Acts of the church. Notice the first Bible of the church movement was the book of Acts, right?
Okay.
That's the work. That's when they went and worked for the church.
Okay.
The Acts. And so we just want to sit and talk about God. Most Christians, to be honest, are in love with the ideal of Jesus, of being a Christian.
Okay.
They don't know nothing about the God of the Bible or want to do the work or the will of Him and sacrifice. They worry about
Yes.
who you having sex with, who
Yes.
the pastor's having sex with.
Yeah, I
They
wanna
worry-
know.
They worry about, now see what I'm saying? Why you
I want to
wanna
know. I mean, because
I thought we had some questions, though.
we
I
got
thought
some
we was
questions. I know it went to
I'm
this
talking about the
business.
business of church. I thought this was mystery of sex.
Yes, it is.
Not the
One
mystery of church
second.
business.
Good afternoon,
Change the
Mysteries of Sex. Good afternoon.
Yeah, turn that TV down.
Yeah. Okay, so yeah, like you said, Pastor Black, we got into business and stuff like that. I want to talk about sex. I want to talk about sex in the church.
Well, let me touch that sex thing. 'Cause I haven't had a chance to tackle that. The sex thing in religion, it's been very strong. But like I pointed out, I'm gonna go and touch one of the very first ones. I'm gonna touch the first fruit of it.
Okay.
I'm gonna touch the genesis of this sex thing.
Okay.
Now, when God made man, okay, woman wasn't even his first choice. He gave him animals and stuff first.
That's
He
true,
said
that's
he
true.
still couldn't find nothing that's suitable.
Suitable.
For Adam. And so
That's
then
right.
he created Eve, the woman, the woman. And watch this. When he had the woman, Eve, God put something on Eve so good.
Okay.
that it made Adam forget what God had said. It made Adam disobey God when all he knew was God in conversation, because the animals could not keep him as a companion, and he gave him this woman, and once they had engaged in sex and knew her, say they instantly knew they were naked and began to cover themselves. Now, most folks say, well, we don't know what they said they covered them with, what fruit he was eating. Well, I know that they said they instantly picked up fig leaves
Okay.
right then. So I would imagine that God had a problem about them fig trees in that Bible. So
Okay.
all I'm gonna tell you is that them fig trees would have been a problem.
Okay.
And he say he instantly covers up with fig leaves. So when they knew they were naked and they had came into relations, right?
Yes.
And so here's my thing. That was so tempting,
Okay.
so good, so dominating, that Adam went against God and knew he was wrong. And Eve knew she was wrong,
Yes.
but they put out all reason, all caution, all religion, just like we do
Today.
as believers, that when we
Yes.
go in that hotel room, I
Yes.
guarantee you we ain't praying until we get done. When it's done, then we want to cover ourselves with prayer. Oh, Lord, what have I done?
Well, please,
Huh?
please,
When
God, don't
it's
let me
done.
catch nothing.
Huh?
Oh,
Right?
absolutely.
But listen, when we going into the deed,
Yeah.
we don't pray. Where the power at? When we
Yes. Yes. Yes.
listen, God gave us a very precious thing.
Yes.
And I always say, he was so benevolent to us, because God could have made orgasms when it comes to the pinnacle for like 100 hammers hitting your thing.
Yeah.
He could have made it that way.
Yeah. Well, we have over
He made it.
125 orgasms.
Ooh, he made it pleasurable.
I mean,
So,
you
yeah.
know,
But
God-
men, we pervert
but
stuff,
no,
you
but
know.
God wouldn't have done that, because then procreation probably
go.
would not have happened. And I mean, you call it God, you can call it evolution. You know, you call
Both
it what you
like
want to
choking,
call
but
it.
like, both like choking and
I
still
mean,
like
you know,
pain.
people. Well, first of all, I mean, can we just be real?
Be
Let's
real,
be
be
super
real.
real.
Yes.
First of all, most people have sex now because they saw a movie or a video
Wait. Okay.
or a
You can't
magazine.
wait.
50
Pastor
Shades of
Bubba.
Grey.
Pastor
Or
Bubba.
they
Wait.
will watch. No, but
No,
check it out.
this part of my
But
question.
check
You
it out.
tapping into my questions
but,
here.
but I'm just saying,
No,
let's be
Pastor
honest.
Bullock, wait.
No, I'm saying Pastor Mo was talking about Adam and
Pastor
Eve and
Bullock.
people being choked.
Wait, we gotta
Look,
wait. 'Cause it's a
most
question to
women
you.
are imitating what they heard in the beauty shop, what they saw in a movie. You know what I mean? Somebody told them something, they saw something. Most people don't even know how they want to have sex until they like 50, 60. Some people die. God, people be in the box. They ain't never had their own authentic sexual experience.
Well, you got me another question.
I'm
Have you
praying for y'all.
have you had your own experience with
Well, I
sex?
don't know. I ain't got old enough yet.
He ain't 50 yet.
Right.
So are you in a relationship?
But I'm not in a relationship right
Have
now.
you had sex yet?
I'm not a virgin.
You're not a virgin.
No,
Okay,
no.
now here's one of my questions. Good. I'm happy you said
Yeah,
that. Okay, you tapped into every last one of my questions, so you threw my questions out
Well,
the window, right?
I'm just saying, let's keep it real, because you got them talking about Adam and Eve. And
Okay,
we
okay,
don't-
you got me. You got
Because
me good.
in the Bible, women didn't have rights to their bodies in the Old Testament, so that kind of most of the
but-
sex in the Bible was the man just taking the woman whenever he wanted.
True, I agree. But then I have to ask you. Okay.
Y'all just got the right to figure out when y'all wanted to have it.
Okay, I agree. So then since
Y'all still kind of messed up with that.
wait a minute, Pastor Bullock.
I'm
so,
sorry, I'm just
so
saying.
in the
Yeah.
Bible, it says that it's a sin to have sex before you're married.
Right? Show me that.
I don't know. You're the pastor.
No.
People come to me and tell me that.
I'm saying I want to find that scripture.
Thank you.
No,
I like that.
let's
Thank
find it
you.
tonight.
I don't know. I mean, people come to me so. This phone blowing
No,
up.
let's find it, because I want to find, because I never read that.
Yes, 1 second.
I've never
Mysteries
read
of
that.
sex. Mysteries of sex.
Were Abraham and
Hello?
Sarah married? I guess they were.
Am I supposed to lift this?
No, it did come through. He can bring it
Hello.
Hello?
Oh,
Oh,
shoot.
see,
Sorry, ma'am. Call
It takes
back.
a while sometimes. But
Um,
I'm saying, Pastor, do you know what that scripture is? I know people are referring to scriptures in the New Testament
Right.
about fornication and pornos. But I don't think what people understand is that Paul
problem
was
is
talking
that-
about Vestal virgins in a pagan religious ritual.
What's Vestal?
So
virgin?
there were religions in the New Testament, particularly when Paul's going amongst the Greeks and the Romans
Okay.
and converting them to Christ.
Okay.
There are a couple of big issues in the New Testament that we don't have.
Okay.
One is, should I eat meat
Okay.
dedicated to idols? That's
Okay.
a big one. Like, you start reading the New Testament, there's all
Okay.
these sermons about who cares if the meat was dedicated to the idol or not.
Okay.
Don't eat it. Then one is about the sexual practice of religious orgies.
Oh wow.
Okay, in like temples of what's the Hermes, Hermaphrodite, right? The rituals of Hermes, and the Greek Aphrodite, the goddess of love.
Yeah.
So you got to think about this. In the ancient world, how would I worship the goddess of love if I went to her temple?
Yes.
I would worship her
Yes.
by paying to have sex with women that were set aside in her service.
Okay.
Right? And that's how herpes, which is another Greek word,
Herpes?
yeah, were associated with religious orgies in the temple of Aphrodite. Because if the whole community's using the same women to
Okay.
worship, you probably pick something up.
Spread the herpes.
Right, exactly.
Okay.
So now Paul is saying to people in the New Testament world who become Christians, don't engage in fornication. Just like he's saying the meat dedicated to idol issue is something y'all need to look out for.
Okay.
He's saying the practice of going to temples and engaging in idolatrous sex worship. Don't do that either. Right? It's not clear though that the Bible ever really has a concept of women being of age, falling romantically in love with a man, walking down an aisle, getting a marriage license, and then somehow magically God gives them permission to have sex. Because that concept is actually a romantic enlightenment concept that probably doesn't enter the Western world through the Caucasians, who we call Europeans, somewhere around the 13 or 1400s, right? That comes very late. What you have in the Bible is a concept of arranged marriage, which is older men marrying 12-year-olds, which nobody would follow the Bible and do today. And you also have the concept of a man can have multiple wives, and a man can have sex slaves while he has wives. So you got to think about it.
Yeah.
Right? Jacob, whose name was changed to Israel, had 12 sons. Is that right?
Yeah.
Jacob had 12 sons, right?
Sons,
Right? He had 2 wives, and then one of the wives, Rachel, had children late, so she was trying to compete with her sister.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
So what did Rachel say? You can have my handmaiden, and she can have wives. She can have kids for me.
Yes.
Right? So he ends up getting 12 kids, but he's got 4 women he's having babies by. 2 of his slaves, or 2 of the slaves of his wives, and he has 2 wives. Abraham has a son with Hagar, who is the slave he bought for Sarah, and Sarah gives him permission, which really it's his slave. Right? So I'm saying, when people want to get all biblical, it's like, okay, well, first of all, American matrimonial law is anti-Bible. Because we were following the Bible, man can have more than one wife.
Yeah.
Right? But that's illegal in America.
Yeah.
We're supposed to be a Christian nation. Because y'all silly. Because y'all don't read nothing.
So how do you feel about polyamorous relationship?
Well, I think all of these labels that come from white people are interesting because polyamorous.
But I do love white people as well.
I get it. No, I love white people too, but polyamorous. Poly is a Greek word, meaning many. Many loves. Okay, all right. What is the many loves? Well, psychologists say that human beings can have about 5 to 8 close relationships, 30 to 50 outside of that close circle, right? And at most about 150 to 200 immediate relational contacts. That means most of us are probably polyamorous.
I agree.
It's just that you have social norms. Right? You have social norms. I mean, and a lot of us are homosexual too. It's just the social norms.
Okay, wait. Did you tap into my subject?
Because Plato says, Socrates, well, this was Socrates. You know what Socrates said about Plato,
Nope,
right?
I don't know.
Socrates said Aristotle. Aristotle said Plato was a great teacher, but he was too addicted to sex with young boys. But Socrates says, right, as Plato puts the words in his mouth, that there is no highest form of interaction than engagement between 2 men. Now, I'll close with this because this is what people don't understand. Women just recently got added to the party. The woman would cook, clean, have the babies go upstairs. And the men would get the cigars and the cognac and go in the back room. And they would have the real conversations, watch this, and the real recreation. If you think about European white men, they vacation together. They leave the wives at home.
Yes.
That's homoerotic recreation. Right?
Homoerotic recreation. I learned a new word.
That is embedded, because I can't be a white supremacist and a male chauvinist and find my highest form of recreation with a woman.
Yes.
See what I'm saying?
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
And so that's why the Greek word mentor, you know, See, that's why in Africa you didn't have mentors. That's why all these black people with these mentoring programs. Charles Pugh had a mentoring program because he knew what a mentoring program was. In ancient Greece, you know how you would mentor a young man?
Yes.
You would find a young man right before the growing of his first beard, and you would take him to the gymnasium. And you would wrestle. They wrestled in the nude. When you wrestled in the nude, you get aroused,
Genitals, yes.
right?
Genitals
And then
are
they would go
touching.
from wrestling, right? They would go from
Yes.
wrestling to drinking wine to having sex. This
Yes.
comes from ancient Greece. So there's a long history and tradition of homoerotic recreation
What about-
amongst white males.
About the YMCA.
I'm just saying. So all of this stuff that people think is biblical or isn't biblical, what they have to understand is what it is white Western European. And we cannot forget that we got our Bible from uneducated white men who are our masters, and we have yet to even create our own understanding of the Bible they gave us, much less delve past the Bible into other traditions of ancient Kemet and other places, and fill it in ways that become meaningful and authentic for ourselves.
Then I thought that this actually was backwards. I thought that the marriage was being fulfilled, constituted when you break the hymen.
Yes.
But then ain't a whole lot of people never got married. If you got to break the hymen to get married, if you got to break the hymen in Detroit to get married, shoot, you ain't gonna get married. 'Cause that hymen that got broke, she was 12.
Oh my goodness! Well, you
Are
guys
you
have
bleeding? Can't think about sex? Irritated by your Kotex? I mean, she was listening to Too Short at 10 years old. I knew a young little girl break you down in bed, bend you on over, and give you something. You know what I'm saying? I'm just saying.
Okay, wait,
I'm just
Pastor
saying, come
Bullock
on
and
now.
Pastor-
I'm just saying. Let's
Pastor
keep
Mo,
it real.
I had a ton of questions.
You
but
didn't know who
guys
you
took
invited
it-
on this
Yes.
show. You didn't
I
know
couldn't
who you
even ask
invited
my
on
questions.
this show.
You guys have went way beyond my questions. Okay, so I don't even have to. I would end by saying, what do you believe is the connection with young people, sex, and media?
Young people, you want to get that, Pastor Mo? Young people, sex, and media.
Yes. How do you think that media affects young people, like the pornography and things of that nature? Because you touched on that too.
It messed them up.
I mean, Yellow Bodega, #1 song in the country. Andakana, Nicki Minaj.
Okay.
Sex in the City, high heel shoes, Christian Louis Vuitton.
Yes.
You have Love and Basketball.
Okay.
Huh?
Yes.
You have Hollywood Housewives.
Okay.
Come on, this is sex driven. 50 Shades of Grey. Get down with it. Sex is in the music. It's the magnum. It's the media. It's promotion. It's pumping them up.
Yeah.
Red-blooded, hot, pumping. And listen, it all has to stop and then decide what is best for my life. What does God fit in this thing? You see, because biblically, watch this. Even biblically, real quick, Elijah was in the Syrophoenician region going to fight the gods of Baal.
Right.
Yes.
And what's her name? The woman, the god of Baal?
Jezebel.
Jezebel, right?
Jezebel.
Watch this. Syrophoenician woman had fed Elijah. He said, "Give me your last cake." And she said, "I'm gonna eat this last cake. I'm a son. We're gonna die." Listen, that was stated because in that region, Jezebel reigned that thing, and they believed in three things, three rituals.
That's right.
The ritual of prostitution,
Right.
Okay.
the ritual of blood oath,
Okay.
and the ritual of giving your infant. The whole valley of Hinnom, where you would go in the bones of Hinnom. When you would go, you would give you put the child in the hands of the gods of Molech and burn them to pass by the fire, right? And so here she was. Said, I'm not gonna give my son. He ain't gonna in a sacrifice. I'm not gonna cut myself, make blood oath, or have ritual prostitution. So I'm gonna eat this and die.
Okay.
So because she gave the man of God and he fought them devils and evil spirits.
Yeah.
She made a decision. I'm not gonna violate God and my religion for this sexual act and for what now? Because now they are now for the media play and for the TV show and for a Black Ink. They're gonna have sex on TV and it's pushing it real hard.
Okay.
So where does God get in that? We have to stop and see and say, hey, wait a minute, wait. I know there's a biblical principle to this thing.
Okay.
I know God meant me to love and be Black and me to be passionate.
Okay.
And so it gets very confusing
Yes.
where we at in God. And then comes disobedience, it comes the pleasure of sex. When Adam and Eve disobeyed God and had to have that moment and kept on with it, right?
Yeah.
So it becomes very confusing. And then the same ones who talk about what the Bible say and Reverend Bullock, Reverend Pastor Mo, this and that. I guarantee you, half the people that's talking and saying this stuff was born out of wedlock.
Hey, another question before we end this. Pastor Mo, you're married, Pastor Bullock.
Yes, I'm married.
I read your site. It said you're eligible bachelor.
Yeah, I'm eligible bachelor.
But you're not a virgin. Wait. I gotta ask you this question. Wait a minute, though. I gotta ask you a question.
I'm gonna answer both of them.
You are an eligible bachelor, and you are a married man.
Married man, 17 years.
17 years. Praise God.
He's older than I
What's
am.
up,
though.
Kyle?
Okay.
He's like
okay,
twice
so now
as
I'm
old
gonna
as
ask
I
you
am.
guys a question. Do you believe that your sex is better and your orgasms are better than Pastor Bullock's?
How would he know?
Exactly. But that's what it says. It says you're supposed to be married.
How would he know?
How would anyone
I mean, even
know?
if we were both married, what would we talk to each other and text? Was Joe going to get some
hey.
good? But I'm glad you asked that question.
Yeah, because some people say that you're supposed to be married before you have sex.
I'm glad
Oh, you said is married sex better than single sex?
Yes.
Is what you're asking.
Yeah.
Well, you know,
that's what I'm
I'm glad you asked that question
Let's
because
look
I
at that.
think the social media question and this one go together. What social media and the movies and stuff have done for people, they become so sexualized. A lot of people are having sex with themselves. A lot of people,
Masturbation.
yeah, a lot of people are running into a sexual experience.
Judah and Tamara?
But what we're not doing is we're not having conversations with adults and young people about what good sex is or about how to have it. I try to tell some of the more mature women in my church. I tell the young women in my church, hey, if you're gonna have sex, use a condom. That's pretty much what I tell them. Get protection. You know, check the dude out. You know, make sure the dude you're having sex with is a dude that you can deal with beyond the sex.
You took heat for that on TV. You did a thing on that.
Right. But this is what I tell the mature women in my church. You know what I'm saying? Don't get hooked up with a dude that can't give you an orgasm. I mean, especially if you already got kids. Because why be hooked into a cat that you got kids with and you had never had an orgasm? And then don't go chasing it because a lot of people need to learn.
Okay.
A lot of people need to learn. So how do you know if you having good? Most people in church or outside church don't even know if they're having good sex. Because that ain't in the Bible.
We gotta stop. My
Don't go
producer just
chasing
told me that my
waterfalls.
time is
We
up.
gotta go.
Thank you guys so much.
Thou
This was
shalt not have
phenomenal.
bad sex.
This was phenomenal. I love it.
Sex
Thou
in the
should not have bad sex. Orgasms are healthy, Pastor Bullock. Masturbation is healthy also.
Thou
So
shalt
love
not have
yourself,
bad
enjoy
sex.
yourself. And guys, we'll
Don't
be
have it by
right
yourself
back
a whole
shortly.
lot.
Let's talk sex with Maya. Let's talk sex with Maya.
Would you teach it?
Let's talk sex with Maya.
Would you try it?
Let's talk sex with Maya.
Would you
Would you
love
or would
it?
you not? Let's talk sex with Maya.
Would you
Would you
judge
or would you
it?
not?
Would you
Let's talk
trust
sex
me?
with Maya.
Would
Would
you
you
buy
or would you
it?
not?
Would you
Let's talk
hide
sex
it?
with Maya.
Or would you
Would you
deny
or
it?
would you not? Let's talk sex with Maya. Would you or would you not? Let's talk sex with
I teach you, you teach me. Together we explore and discover the mysteries of sex. The Mysteries of Sex with Love My Yacht. Love My Yacht. The Mysteries of Sex. Every second and fourth Tuesday at 9 p.m. on TV 33 WHPR on Comcast Cable Channel 91 Detroit. Sex. Would you or would you not? The Mysteries of Sex. With your host, Love My Yacht. The Mysteries of Sex.
Let's talk sex with Maya. Let's talk sex with Maya.
Would you teach it?
Let's talk sex with Maya.
Would you try it?
Let's talk sex with Maya.
Would you
Would you
love
or would you
it?
not? Let's talk sex with Maya.
Would you
Would you
judge
or would you
it?
not?
Would you
Let's talk
trust
sex
me?
with Maya.
Would
Would
you
you
buy
or would you
it?
not?
Would you
Let's talk
hide
sex
it?
with Maya.
Or would you
Would you
deny
or
it?
would you not? Let's talk sex with Maya. Would you or would you not? Let's talk sex with
Welcome back to the Mysteries of Sex with Love My Yacht. This was a phenomenal day. It's so elevated and so heated. I'm tongue-tied, right? But of course, all good things have to slow down. It don't come to an end, but it slow down. So I had to get a little bit simmer down and pull my girl One Single Rose to me and take some time out so we can have some one-on-one.
Oh my God! I got to decompress after all that
Yes.
knowledge that was kicked it was just so much.
Yes.
I knew a lot of it, but some of the stuff that he was bringing and how Pastor Bullock and Reverend Mo, they were keeping it real.
Yes.
That's what we really need
Exactly.
right now. We need
They
the real.
taught me part of sex in the Bible that I never known before.
Absolutely.
So that
Yeah.
was really,
Yeah,
really
yeah.
beautiful.
Yeah, they broke it down.
I'm still kind of like feeding off of that, especially when Pastor Bullock was talking about orgasms. I thought I had questions that was going to offend him. He hit every question that I had.
I know,
without
I'm
even
sitting over
saying
there
it.
like, whew.
Okay.
Okay.
Orgasms and sex and love, Pastor Mo. Okay.
Yeah.
So now, since I'm kind of extremely excited and aroused, tell me what your love life been about.
My love life is interesting yet boring at the same time.
Oh, you need Pastor Bullock in the room, huh?
Right, so he can tell me the history of what I'm doing wrong so I can get it back right.
So, with your love life, does it kind of affect your writing capabilities of writing poetry? And also, you're a singer and you're a book writer. So, does it influence what you write?
It absolutely does. If I'm in a good headspace, I'm writing happy songs, happy poetry. If I'm in a bad headspace or if there's something going on, I'm arguing all the time. Everything is hate, hate, hate. Leave me alone. Get out my face. Die today, not tomorrow.
Oh,
So,
okay.
yeah.
So, almost like, I burst your window out your car?
I bust a window out your car.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Something like that type of thing. So tell me, you have so much going on. I'm so honored that you were able to do this interview because I know you're going to Africa Friday, right?
Yes, I leave Saturday for the Kistrich Poetry Festival in Nairobi and Kisii, Kenya.
Oh my
I'm
goodness.
so excited.
Yes,
Yeah.
Africa. So tell me how many places you ventured.
I have been I've toured around the U.S., Africa, Europe, St. Lucia, Canada, Mexico. Yeah.
And
Poetry's-
everyone really, really accepted the poetry from you. They really can vibe off of it, can relate to it.
Yes, we have a ball. We have a blast. Wherever I go, wherever I'm blessed to, that my words are welcome, I have a good time wherever I go. And I make friends in all of these countries. So if I
Yes.
just want to go back, hey, I'm coming for the weekend, what you got going
That's
on?
beautiful.
They have an open door. So.
You have a beautiful personality. You have beautiful energy because when I met you like a year ago, you did an event for me, and you made my event just go bananas.
Oh, thank you.
You are so totally awesome. I have to ask you also, what are your views about sex in the church?
Sex in the church or sex wherever is a natural thing. So I view it to be okay.
Okay.
Because we're all sexual beings.
Exactly.
We were all born from an act of sex. So people get so prudish by it, or we shouldn't talk about it. That's not acceptable here. That's not acceptable there. Well, if that's the case, you are a product of sex, so you aren't acceptable here.
Exactly.
You aren't
And-
acceptable there.
Yes.
So if we just get out of this stigma that sex is bad and we can explore it no matter where we are, we wouldn't have so many problems and there wouldn't be so much debate about it right now.
I agree. Sex is definitely something that shouldn't be shameful.
Absolutely.
It's a beautiful thing. It's how we all got here, and it's pleasurable.
Mhm.
Can you please do me a favor?
Yes.
Can you recite one of your poems
Sure.
or your poetry?
We're on love right now.
Yes.
Okay. This piece is called I'm Down To, and it celebrates unconditional love. I'm down to ride with you on back of a bicycle or a shopping cart. Sleep with you under viaducts and cardboard when it rains. Burn beans in cans on the grill. Hold signs at intersections for our next meal. I'll camp with you in the desert counting stars. Orion's belt, the Big Dipper, and Mars. I'll be your bathwater and bathe you. Try to heal whatever ails you. Whip your opponent's butts till they're black and I'm blue. I'm here for you for better or for worse, in sickness or in good health. You plus me equals we. So help me, I see God in you.
Yes.
And I believe in us. I'll stand by your side for encouragement. When clouds of doubt shower your thoughts, I'll ease your mind, pushing you forward as a king. Know that you can lean on me if you fall. Together, you and I, we could have it all. My world would be empty without you. I refuse to live in this world. I'm here for you the length of our forever. 100% down for you and whatever.
Yes, that was beautiful. Oh my goodness, that was beautiful.
Thank you.
That was beautiful.
Thank you.
Okay, well, you
Katrina.
know that you're in my hot seat, right?
Uh-oh.
You're in the hot seat.
I'm
And
not
right
ready.
now is the moment that we go through. Would you or would you not?
So I have to answer these questions honestly.
Honestly, especially after that good, oh my goodness, that good porn. I love
Okay.
it. Okay, so with you or would you not have sex in public?
Yes.
Yeah.
Have I not done that? I'm not telling.
Okay. Well, we're going to wrap this up. But before we wrap this up, Mysteries of Sex with your girl, Love My Yacht, will have to drop some treasure jewels. And the treasure jewel for today is one of the love chemicals, which is oxytocin. Oxytocin is released after sex or during sex. However, that's not the only purpose for oxytocin to be released. It's also released after mom has the baby or after birth. And when the mother delivers a child, an oxytocin or oxytocin is released, the mother creates a bond with that child from those oxytocins, as well as a language to the breast to produce the breast milk. So oxytocin, once again, is definitely a love chemical. It's for sex, during sex, after sex, and it's also to bond with the mom and the baby and to produce breast milk. So once again, oxytocin is a love chemical. I teach you, you teach me. Together, we explore and discover the mysteries of sex. Thank you, and stay tuned to the Mysteries of Sex next Tuesday.
Let's talk sex with Love My Yacht. Let's talk sex with Love My Yacht.
Would you teach it?
Let's talk sex with Love My Yacht.
Would you try it?
Let's talk sex with Love My Yacht.
Would you
Would you
love
or would
it?
you not? Let's talk sex with Love My Yacht.
Would you
Would you
judge
or would you
it?
not?
Would you
Let's talk
trust
sex
me?
with Love My Yacht.
Would
Would
you
you
buy
or would you
it?
not?
Would you
Let's
hide
talk sex
it?
with Love My Yacht.
Or would you
Would you
deny
or
it?
would you not? Let's talk sex with Love My Yacht. Would you or would you not? Let's talk sex with